Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. So everybody knows how much I love doing speeches in front of big groups of people, so I'll try and keep it as sweet and concise as I possibly can. But I'd like to welcome and thank you for coming. I know everybody's had to come a very long way. We've got family from all over the country. People have come over from Spain, from the north of England, from London, from everywhere. So I appreciate everybody coming. The wedding has been 2 years in the making, but 2 whole lifetimes coming together on this special day. We've tried to think of everything. I've put so much effort into looking for the dates specifically, for trying to work out maximum amount of sunlight and less rainfall and all that stuff. We did all the maths, but then Chloe's done everything else. And you'll see as you go around the building that Chloe's by far been the one that's putting a lot more effort for all of the little centerpieces and everything as we sort of go around, the effort that you've put in. You'll notice how much has been handmade, mostly by Chloe, I admit. Save the dates, the invites, the acrylic sheets for the table plans and the welcome signs, and even a few surprises that you might see later. The confetti that you threw earlier was handpicked from all the petals of almost every bunch of flowers we've had over the last 2 years that we've been given or we've bought ourselves. I've got to say thank you to my gorgeous wife Chloe for all her efforts. I'm sure you'll agree how beautiful she looks today. Yeah. I do know how lucky I am. We've got quite a long list of thank yous for everybody, so I'll go through a few of them, and then I think Chloe's got a few saved for later. We're going to start with Chloe's nan Sandy for her amazing work on our bouquets and table flowers. Everything you see has all been handmade by Chloe's nan. We've got to thank Tess for her incredible cake. Yeah. We'll do a round of applause for everybody. So next is Tess for her incredible cake. There are lots of paramedics in the building, and all of the paramedics know just how good her skills are in baking. I've got to say thank you to Jack and Casey for their work as best man and maid of honour. So much work has gone into creating the best stag and hen parties, with lots of tales we can tell you about later. I've got to say thank you to my amazing, beautiful sister Rebecca, who set the standard in weddings last year, someone I've always looked at with pride, who always was more popular than me at school, better than me at sports, and definitely better at art. I'd like to say thank you to my brother David, who has always been so much better than me socially, and for making me down all of the shots of vodka I never wanted to on any of the recent stag parties. Best of luck to him and Liv for their wedding in a few weeks. I'd like to say thank you to my groomsmen for everything they've done for me in the lead up to the wedding today. I've got to say thank you to Simon and Bonnie for raising such a kind, clever, gorgeous young lady and allowing me to marry her today. It's helped all my dreams come true. Thank you to my parents, Lucy and Jonathan, who made me go to university as far from home as possible, just so I couldn't come home and do my laundry every weekend. Without this, I would never have bumped into Chloe, and we wouldn't be here today. Their kindness, generosity, and imagination has helped us immensely in being able to celebrate today in such a wonderful way. Chloe has a few other specific thank yous for later, but finally I'd like to reiterate my thanks for every one of you in the room today for taking the time to travel here. Thank you very much. I also need to acknowledge that not everybody could be here today. For some, the journey was just too far, and with medical conditions and other pressures, not everybody could make it. But I'd also like to take a moment to remember those that sadly didn't have the opportunity to be here. Having lost close family in recent years, we have created our little table of remembrance in the entrance where you can pay your respects for those who are in a better place looking down on us. So I'd like our first toast today would be for everybody to raise their glasses, please. And this is for those no longer with us, so thank you. Cheers. To bring up the mood slightly, I can tell you a few funny stories of me and Chloe, but mainly Chloe, as I know she's going to do the same to me later. We should start with her cooking, like when she made me garlic burgers, but confused what a clove and a bulb was. So, needless to say, we had round garlic discs with a little bit of meat in them. But I was too nice to tell her how lovely they were, so I took them into work to bin them there. Or we could chat about her geography skills. What is the capital of Germany? No, it's not Belgium. Or what about when I asked her if she voted for Brexit in the referendum? Her reply, she wasn't old enough to vote. That was awkward. However, I can't describe how proud of her I am. She has developed into a wonderful, inspirational person over the last few years. We have bought our house together. We have completed our first half marathon earlier this year together. When 2 years ago, Chloe couldn't run more than 100 metres, and neither could I. Chloe can now deadlift more than most of the heart paramedics at work, and can also do more pull-ups and press-ups than most people we know. Chloe always said that she was scared of heights, didn't enjoy swimming, hated confined spaces, and she has recently passed her heart course with almost 10 weeks away from home, learning all of the water rescue, chemical response, and all the training that they do. It's an amazing achievement. But as a female at 25 years old, she joins only a tiny select group, getting into heart first time and being successful in everything she has done. We even managed to do a heart night shift together just a few weeks ago, and I'm honestly so proud of my beautiful bride and who she has become. Anyway, that's enough from me. I know you're all hungry, so just wish us luck with the tomato soup.
I'd like to start by saying how stunning my daughter looks today. James looks very handsome, as do all the bridesmaids, groomsmen, and the lovely little flower girl, wherever she's gone. So when I first fell pregnant with Chloe, I was only 17, and many people thought I was too young to bring her up well. They couldn't have been any more wrong. She's an amazing young woman with a very successful career. Over the last 25 years, we've obviously created the best memories together. I will share just a few. So when she was little, she had very short, curly hair. She was so desperate to have long hair, so she would put fake ponytail clips in or anything she could to gain a bit of length to her hair. At one point, she even made her granddad and Auntie Carrie put armchair covers on their heads. It's a very big shock to the gas man when he arrived. Chloe was also a great cheerleader, often competing in competitions and performing at fetes and carnivals. She was also obsessed with the tweenies, and quite often she would pack her little tweenie suitcase with her toys and say she was off to stay with Nanny and Toby. Chloe's always achieved well in school and made us proud at every parents' evening. So when we made the decision to move to Devon, she was only 12, and we did worry a little if she would continue to succeed in school. Well, she definitely did, and also made some lifelong friends who are here today once again by her side as her bridesmaids. And one of them, Annie, got caught out with Chloe one night when they were told they weren't to go to a camp out in a field, but went anyway. So they're naughty girls. She then had a college placement at the high school as a TA, where she went to a lesson with her brother Jay to support. But instead of helping, she actually fell asleep during the lesson. So it wasn't actually much help. Chloe's first attempt at driving did not go too well. Simon took her out the back and tried clutch control. She did a massive wheel spin and went up the grass verge. The second lesson wasn't much better either. She forgot to stop at the end of the road and went straight out onto the main road. And now to think she drives ambulances on blues and twos. How scary is that? In lockdown, Chloe, along with her sister Ellie, decided to play a prank on me. They were screaming out, "Mum, quick, come here, quick." I ran straight into a massive amount of sellotape that they put all across the doorway. Obviously, they thought it was hilarious. And let's mention the nights I've had to sit up with her when she's came home in drunken states. One time, she was screaming in the street, "Mummy, help me, I've been a bit poorly." She even managed to pull a soap dispenser off the wall in spoons. God knows what she was doing, but then she slid down the wall laughing, holding her soap dispenser in the air. We have enjoyed many road trips together, spa days, even a bike ride. Many crazy times together, plus the Hindu to Amsterdam. She has been the best big sister to Jay, Ellie, Alfie, Tiffany and Tommy. And she's always been a great support to me too. When Chloe met James through work, she spoke very highly of him and always had a massive smile on her face. Then when we met him, we saw why. He is a lovely, thoughtful, caring man who we know who will take excellent care of my little girl. The day he asked me and Simon for a hand in marriage made us so proud and happy. We are now proud to call you our son-in-law. Chloe, I've always been your #1 supporter, and I'm so very proud of the amazing woman you have become. We wish you both all the love and happiness in the world as you begin your new chapter as husband and wife. Would you all please raise your glass and say huge congratulations to the new Mr. and Mrs. Leavor. Cheers.
Hi all, just to let you know, I'm Jack Lobb. I'm James's best man for the day, which is obviously a massive privilege. I'm going to begin the speech by saying that I had a huge sense of relief when James and Chloe told me that I'd be after the food, because James can quite often get a bit hangry, but judging by his demeanour at the minute, he's quite content, so this might go well. The four of us once attended a wedding where the best man got the groom to put his hand on top of his new wife's. This was apparently an attempt to give him the upper hand one last time. If I was a better best man, I would have tried this with James. But to be honest, he doesn't even buy his own trousers, let alone pick or wear them. This is actually my second attempt at being a best man in the last couple of months. Yes, for any further requests for my services, I will be charging a fee. One thing that has stuck out when writing these speeches, though, is that as you make notes about the lives that we have led together, themes appear. Consequently, James made finding the theme for this speech significantly easier on a recent night shift, as we discussed his lovely new wife, Chloe. So the theme for this speech will be fate, the definition of which suggests that a life is a singular predetermined series of events that will happen regardless of other events or factors. It may have been the fact that we were both sleep deprived, which is quite rare on heart shifts for those of you that aren't aware. But James and I got a bit philosophical on that night and agreed that we were both exactly where we were meant to be in life. Regardless of all the things that had come before, we had hearts filled with love and admiration for our partners and an unbridled enthusiasm for all the future had to bring. I would, however, disagree that fate is a singular predetermined path. Life is filled with choices and hard work to put you in the right place at the right time. This is evidenced by James's first-class honours degree that I'm not allowed to forget, or his phenomenal weight loss to create James 2.0, aka Chloe's sugar daddy. Or his career, which has now reached the dizzying heights of flying in his own funded helicopter. Yes, he does now wear his orange pants on the outside of his trousers. Anyway, I would suggest it isn't quite as deterministic that we are born to follow one path, but we have multiple different potential fates that can be triggered by key decisions, leading you down one path rather than another. For example, I am stood here today because James, the best part of 11 years ago, let me stay in a spare room of his flat in Plymouth when we started university. However, this triggered a fortuitous chain of events that has led to years of laughter, adventure and friendship. We certainly weren't the stereotypical university students. Neither of us drank, neither of us partied, and both of us would have definitely preferred a full night's sleep to the latter. In fact, as a demonstration that everything happens when it should, if our partners had met us then instead of when they did, they probably would have thought we were pretty boring and not bothered at all. Fortunately, they were too busy learning basic mathematics in year 7 or 8. I guess you could argue that James and I learnt how to be adults in that flat. I mean, you'd have to be pretty good at arguing to win, but that's beside the point. We operated power tools, often incorrectly. We learned how to cook meals, which were fine with James as long as they contained as much meat as possible, nothing green, nothing that resembled a mushroom, were coated in barbecue sauce, and the washing could be done in the dishwasher. Chloe, I hope you've been taking notes. When we qualified, I went to Exeter and James stayed in Plymouth. With our newfound wealth, courtesy of the NHS, we began to go on some trips we had discussed sat in that flat. First was James and I's first trip to Thailand, then multiple ski trips, most of which were filled with James skiing far more confidently and, quite frankly, out of control than he should have been. There was luckily only one minor incident of attempted murder on a Spanish woman by Mr. Leavor as he careered on a crash course down an Andorran slope. Along the way, James met a girl, a moment which I was acutely aware of, as he had posted a picture with her on his story, something he never did. Thankfully, this girl was Chloe, or this speech would have just taken an awkward turn. James didn't tell me about her for a little while, until one day we arranged for a walk to discuss some news on Dartmoor, a place that in my life has become synonymous with deep thinking, planning and key decisions. He proceeded to excitedly tell me about how they had the same taste in dogs, how they had arranged shifts together, gone for food, and how she seemed to be the one for him. This was a side of James I'd been waiting a long time to see, a beaming happiness created and shared with a special person in his life. It has been heartwarming to watch them grow into a couple that they are here today. Fortunately, in a twist of fate, Chloe's best friend became my best friend too. So the four of us had formed our own little JC clan and began our adventures together. James and I taught the girls how to ski in Italy, which sounds far more romantic than it actually was. In honesty, we were lucky we all came back alive with no one skiing off a piste, or James and I being stabbed to death with a ski pole for being too critical. Then the second trip to Thailand came. In terms of activities, it was like the greatest hits of the first trip: scuba diving, ATVs, elephant hikes, good food and sunny beaches. However, as James and I both knew, it was going to be special for another reason. James had planned to propose. Therefore, on one particular evening, James, like many of the other residents in Thailand, had a questionable bulge in his shorts. The big night had come. The big night in question was Loy Krathong, a Thai version of Valentine's. The master plan was that James and Chloe would let a lantern fly away to join the stars in the night sky, and as Chloe watched it fly away, out a ring would come to meet her gaze on the way down. A beautiful image, right? Top marks, James. It would have been perfect. Unfortunately, the first lantern descended very quickly, crashed, and burned all of 10 metres into the sea, nestling among the longboats on the shore. This saw me plunging waist deep to retrieve the remains and save the turtles. Any vegans in? No? I forgot about Baz. Excellent. Cheers. The next moment saw me running barefoot through the streets of Ao Nang to procure another lantern, which fortunately was a success. Yet again, in another act of fate, James, Chloe and Casey had moved down the beach to get out of sight of the now considerable crowd that had formed. This spot, in my opinion, was far better than the first. Secluded, personal, and there was soft music playing in the background from a nearby bar. I'm sure James meant it, really. This time, the lantern went up, James went down on one knee, and the rest is why we're here today. So on behalf of Casey and I would like to say thank you to you both for your years of friendship so far. We hope for many, many more. Thank you for being there for us when we have needed you most. And thank you for being auntie and uncle to our girls. And lastly, I hope that many years in the future, we will all sit down and rejoice in the tales of our lives. So let's raise a toast to Mr. and Mrs. Leavor. Cheers. Cheers.
First of all, this is the last speech, so just bear with for 2 minutes. So I just wanted off to say thank you for all coming. You all look wonderful. Everyone looks great, and everyone looks really happy to be here, which is all we wanted. I'll start off with just a story about my dress. So me, James, Jack, Casey, and my mum went to a wedding fair in Plymouth, and there was a catwalk with lots of dresses, and this particular dress came out on a catwalk. We left the fair and James went, there was one particular dress I really liked. It looked like it had feathers, it was magical, it was so beautiful. I went, that was a disgusting dress, don't even look at me. Don't talk to me. Completely threw him off the scent, told him I wanted a plain white dress, and then out walked with the dress that he liked. So just before I say much more, I just wanted to say a few thank yous to a couple of people. So Jonathan and Lucy, I just wanted to say thank you for raising such a wonderful son. You are the only two people that will ever know how difficult it is living with James. I just wanted to thank my mum for coming with me for all of my dress alterations and being as excited as me for the whole day and looking as wonderful as ever. I wanted to thank Simon for walking me down the aisle and not letting me fall on the gravel. I wrote this before, but I did stumble a little bit and you didn't catch me. I wanted to thank my lovely bridal party. You've been all wonderful. You've been a massive hype crowd and got me through today. And every time that I've been stressed, you've brought me back down, even on my 2 hours sleep. So, you got me. I wanted to thank Casey for being the most amazing maid of honour you could have ever imagined. She planned a faultless hen do, which was incredible, memorable in so many ways. Lots of rosé. And lots of memories were made. So most of which she planned whilst pregnant with twins. The other half of it she planned with twins. So don't know how he did that. One more special thank you is directly to my nan, Angie. Just to say, you've had a really rough year, and when I say rough year, I mean statistically, she shouldn't be here today. And Nan suffered 2 cardiac arrests and was resuscitated on Easter weekend, by the way, so her new nickname is Jesus. But seriously, nothing was stopping her from being here today, and she's the only person I have ever met or ever read a textbook about that has come out of an event like that healthier than ever and looking as beautiful as ever. So just... So we've had the soppy, we've had the romantic, we've had the thank yous, so now it's time for some stories. So let's take it back to the beginning. I know a few of you already know this, but I'll just go over how we met. So we met years ago through work. This thing called COVID happened, I don't know if anyone was aware. Anyway, skip a while. In 2020, I was in a crew room at work when some random heart paramedic came up to me and said, "Hi, Chloe." And I remember thinking, who is this? He's come up and talked to me, and I had no idea who it was. He said my name and then started asking about things that only someone who already knew me would know. Long story short, this person took off their face mask. Turns out it was James. Well, those of you that know James prior to 2020, he didn't look the same at all. We laughed about it and decided to pick up a few shifts together. Our first shift together, we delivered a baby. I should correct that and say that I delivered a baby whilst you were in the other room completing paperwork. And another thank you, actually, I forgot. This one goes to my little sister, Ellie. She supposedly caught COVID, so it resulted in me getting a phone call halfway through a night shift with James saying that you can't come home because if you do, you can't go on your blue light course on Monday because you'd have to isolate. And I really wanted to go on this course. So James was sat in the ambulance with me, eavesdropping into my conversation, and along like a similar story to Jack, I have a spare room. Yeah. Our story went a little bit different. I took him up on this offer. It resulted in us going on a few dates, resulted in me moving in with him, bit by bit, drawer by drawer, and then us buying our dream home, booking holidays, and now we are married. James always says quite openly that people are stupid. Anyone that's met James has probably heard that come out of his mouth. James hates stupid people. Well, so we're just going to list some times of when James himself has been stupid. Number 1. All of you will know, we bought a new build house. Everything is perfect when you move in. Everything. Until James starts DIYing. And you supposedly are meant to find studs in a wall. You put a nail in and you hook a picture on the nail. James, to find a stud in the wall, no, not there. No, not there. We've got 6 holes going along before we've got the picture frame. So next to every picture frame, every shelf in our house, there's about 6 holes leading to where it goes. True or not true?
True story.
Number 2, we, in December last year, flew to Budapest. James was getting really frustrated because the airport was quite busy. He kept going around saying, "I hate stupid people. Why are people so slow? They don't know where they're going." Stood in front of a sign and said, "Excuse me, which way is to Budapest?" With a massive sign in front of him saying, "Budapest this way." He also dragged me, Lucy and Jonathan for a 45-minute walk looking for a shoe shop. We needed to buy some shoes for Lucy. The shoe shop was called Office. Turns out after 45 minutes we turned up at our destination, which was a stationery store. James with his Google Maps. When I was working a shift with James, I was his banksman, making sure that when he reversed, he didn't hit anything from behind. What I didn't think was that you would hit something from the front. took off a wing mirror, going into the garage, parking it. There was a crunch, a noise, and I thought, well, I've watched him back, so he ain't hit anything here. Go to the cab, he unrolls the window and goes, oops. James also likes winding up people. His most recent wind-up was we have a supermarket being built at the end of our road, which is supposedly a Morrison's. It's been supposedly a Morrison's for the last 2 years since we've been there, but probably a lot longer. James thought it'd be funny to print off and laminate some signs saying Asda coming soon. Put round and round the fence. It got posted on the Cranbrook page. Asda retweeted it and said we'll have more information soon. Moving on. They did actually get removed. We were driving home from our night shift and we could see the building work people going around with their pliers, taking it off, because he cable tied it round and round and round. And they come along with their cable ties, taking it all off, didn't they? And you were very devastated. Most of you know already, but my favourite TV show is Friends. Now, the description of Monica's character on Google says Monica is very energetic, compulsive, a neat freak, with a competitive strike who does everything by the rules. And then the description of Chandler is a male in touch with his feminine side, with a great sense of humour, and known to be notoriously sarcastic. They were very happily married, so we should be too. Lastly, but not least, James always told me 2 things when we got together. He said, I want to be married before I was 30. I met him at 26 and I thought that's ambitious. And that he wanted to be a critical care paramedic in Hems, which I also thought was ambitious because no one gets to do that. So we're sat here today. James is a 29-year-old male who is now married and this week has started his new career as a critical care paramedic in Hems. He had about 3 weeks before that weren't going to work in the speech, so. If we just want to raise a glass to my amazing husband.
Do I get to open?
Thanks for being you.